I don't really have words at this point. I mean, that's not true. I have a lot of words that I'm about to say here, but the Vancouver Canucks are off to their best start in franchise history. Their best start ever. They are 9-2-1 after taking it to the Oilers, after getting absolutely dominated in the first period, but being relentless, taking the lead and never looking back. And for them to do this in a season after how miserable last year's start was, being 0-5-2, they've been 8-2-1 twice in their history. Both of those times they lost their 12th game of the year. They didn't do that tonight. This is literally their best start in history. That's crazy, right? like you look back at the 2011 team, they didn't have a start this good in any of those years, right? It's fantastic. And to go out and essentially ruin the Oilers season right off the bat, to have guys like McDavid and Draisaitl being so frustrated to the point where they're taking a combined 16 minutes of penalties with like 8 minutes left or 10 minutes left, down 2 goals, to get that far under their skin is so commendable from this team. And I'll get to what I really liked at the end of this game when we get there. I mean, what can I say? Let's get started. The Oilers had all the pressure early in this game, right? 2.5 minutes in, the Oilers had 9 shots. 2.5 minutes in, the Oilers were out shooting the Canucks 9-0. Joshua then takes the first penalty of the day. About 5 minutes in, he takes down Leon Draisaitl. It was a weird sort of open ice hit that looked okay, but then he sort of ended up tackling him because his stick got weird. It wasn't smart from Joshua, which kind of sucked. It was a pretty good kill until about 18 seconds left on the power play. Ekholm, slap shot from the far face-off dot, wired it past Demko. Great shot, and Demko was so good at that point. Again, it was only 6 minutes in, but they had like 14 shots or something along those lines. But the Canucks answer back about 5 minutes later. The shots were 19-2 at this point. 19-2, and Thatcher Demko had kept this game interesting because the Oilers have so much firepower and such good shooters and such good scorers that they could realistically, with 19 shots, they could have 3 goals. No problem on their end. So for Demko to keep them at just 1 goal on 19 shots, Canucks just have 2 shots, and what do? A great play from Kuzmenko. He drops the pass to a streaking Quinn Hughes. He goes backdoor to Mikheyev, but Desharnais' stick, I think it was Desharnais, he had his stick, ends up deflecting it into his own net. If it got through, Mikheyev would have probably scored there. It was a hard pass, but Quinn Hughes ends up getting his 5th of the season. We're 12 games in. Quinn Hughes, with the C on his chest, has 5 goals this year. And by the end of the game, he had 15 assists. He's up to 20 points in 12 games as a defenseman. What a start for Quinn Hughes. And then less than 2 minutes later, they just score again. Shots at this point, I think, are 19-3. This is the Canucks' 4th shot of the game, by the way. It's a 3-on-3 play. Like, it really shouldn't do much. Canucks are rushing it with 3. Oilers have 3 back. But the guy covering the middle of the ice for the Oilers sort of pinches in to go towards Joshua as well. Joshua with a beautiful pass, backhand to Pius Suter. I mean, makeup for Joshua, right? He takes that penalty that leads to the Edmonton goal. He comes out, makes a great play to Suter. Suter just fires it past the goaltender. It's 2-1 for the Canucks early. And then Canucks get a power play. So they're already up a goal, getting outshot. They get a power play. JT Miller's shot is stopped. Brock Besser, who has been so good at this so far this year, just jams home the rebound. He collects it, he finds it, he slides it past the goalie. It's 3-1 for the Canucks with 5 minutes to go in the first period. I mean, what a bounce back, right? Keep in mind, the shots were 19-2 at one point. They end up being, let's see if I can show this on screen. Let's cut over here. They end up being 20-8. So when the shots were 19-2, the Canucks went, they outshot them the rest of the way 6-1. Right? It's not good, right? 20-8 is bad. But they came back, they bounced back, and they outshot them the rest of the way for that period. And they earned 3 goals because of it, which is fantastic. So we go to the second. Another power play. Höglander gets called for interference for knocking out Ekholm. Ekholm had done the same play to him earlier. Ekholm went down pretty easy. I think he thought Höglander went down pretty easy, so I think he said, I can go down a little bit easy too. Funniest play here. Elias Pettersson, this is a great penalty kill. Elias Pettersson gets it, ices it, hits the net, and the Bronx cheer erupts because Stuart Skinner made a save from 200 feet. Beautiful. Bravo, Canucks fans who were at the game. Way to be on your toes on that. Demko had to make a really big save on this power play to keep the game at a 2-goal lead. And then we get a bit of a controversial goal for the Oilers. Demko goes out behind his net to play the puck. He tries to play it around the boards, or maybe he dropped it back. I don't remember exactly, but he stops. Instead of trying to make his way back to it, he kind of stops. And then I think it was Fogle who tries to skate around him, and he clips Demko's leg. Demko didn't move. He does have the right to be in that ice. It's tripping. It's just tripping, right? It's, he's skating around, his leg clips the other guy's leg. It's tripping. If not interference, that too. And then actually, if you look at the goaltender interference rule, it specifies that the goaltender can be in or outside of his crease for it to be goaltender interference. Either way, they don't call it. Draisaitl comes out in front and scores. Tocchet decided not to challenge, and I think it's because he was probably thinking, well, he was outside the crease. The refs are going to say, oh, it's technically not goalie interference. It's tripping, but we can't challenge for that. And I think that might have been why he didn't challenge it, which sucks. But immediate makeup call on the other end of the ice. Desharnais trips Garland, kind of weakly, but he gets the stick in the legs. Garland goes down. Immediate penalty call. Refs were on that. Canucks don't do much on that one, though, which sucks. It would have been nice to just not have that goal in the first place. And then we go to a commercial break, 10 minutes through the second period, as the NHL does. And the Canucks score right away. Höglander creates a 2-on-1, plays it up. Lafferty and Beauvillier in on a 2-on-1. Lafferty's shot is stopped. The rebound comes right out to Niels Höglander. What a shot from Niels Höglander. Jumps on the rebound, just beats Evan Bouchard to the puck. Evan Bouchard had a bad game, and this was the worst part of it, because Höglander chipped it past him and then just burned him, and Bouchard gave up. And Höglander picked up the rebound, went back bar. Beautiful shot, perfectly placed. No chance for the goalie, really. The only play is to not give up that rebound, but even then, that can be a tall order, right? Just don't give up the juicy rebound in front. Well, the guy's shooting for a rebound. Either way, well played. Höglander gets his third of the year, which is good for him. Anything else happened in the second period? Hronik hits the post. He takes a wrist shot that goes off Darnell Nurse's skate and goes off the post. That would have been nice. And then Pius Suter almost scores. He gets a partial breakaway from Joshua, and this is just hard work from Pius Suter. Just works, gets past his man after scoring in the first, comes out and is grinding and almost has another one, slides it through, but it just catches a piece of the skate of Skinner. So we go to the third. And by the way, I do want to mention here, let's go back to the shots here. Second period, shots 17-9 in favor of the Canucks. Huge bounce back. And I've got this tweet from Dan Riccio. Second period used to be a black hole for the Canucks. They have dominated them in recent games and are outscoring opponents 23-7 in second periods. Remember how bad they were in the first few second periods of the year? I mean, what a turnaround. We absolutely love to see that. So we go to the third, and the Oilers score 1 minute in to the third period. Demko just couldn't squeeze it. There's a big cluster going on, and it ends up in the back of the net. And they show the overhead cam. Which is the only cam that had a decent look. The only one that had a decent look. And what happens? But as the puck is sliding into the net, a foot swings and just kicks the puck with the toe of the blade. Right as it's on the goal line, it's going in anyways, and it is kicked into the net. And the refs make the right call. They go upstairs, they say no goal, it was kicked in. Just kills the momentum that the Oilers had trying to come out of the period. I mean, a minute into the third period, down 2 goals, you go out and score one quick. That's good for you. You can try to build off that. But for that to get disallowed, took the wind right out of their sails. The rest of the way was just Edmonton being mad. Just getting frustrated and just making bad plays. McDavid gets frustrated and very frustrated. In the Canucks zone, he gets body checked by Miller. Normal hit, in my opinion. Goes out in front of the net and then gives Miller a shot. Miller gives him a shot back. Okay, whatever. And then Hyman goes after Miller and tries to tackle him. Miller drops the gloves immediately, gives him one shot and tackles him. Great, bravo, JT Miller. What a game from JT Miller. Loved that. And then somehow the penalties are 4 apiece, even though McDavid started all of it, and McDavid doesn't even end up in the box. I thought that was pretty whack, in my opinion. But either way, then shortly after, Elias Pettersson, Pius Suter, you'll hear that name again. They get a 2-on-1, and then Pettersson plays it over to Suter. He takes a shot. It gets stopped, and then McDavid just cross-checks Pius Suter. He's just mad. He just cross-checks him. Then there's this big scrum that ensues, and what ends up happening, they're calling the penalty on McDavid immediately in a game that is 4-2 with like 12 minutes to go. Like there's time. You're down 2 goals. You're a very good hockey team. Connor McDavid gets 2 minutes. Leon Draisaitl gets 10 minutes. Like to get that frustrated, and I get it, their season's gone so poorly, but to get so frustrated that they essentially took their team out of the game because they give the Canucks a power play that's been pretty good, the Vancouver Canucks so far this year. They give the Canucks the power play. They, Draisaitl's in the box essentially for the rest of the game. McDavid's in there for 2 minutes. Like, you can't do that. Like, you're the best player in the world. Like, you're 2 of the best players in the world, really. You just can't, you can't be going out and blaming everyone else and then doing that, right? Either way, Canucks score, of course, to make it 5-2. JT Miller just fires it from the point. It goes post, back bar, and out. Refs obviously don't see it. It looks like it went post to post. Connor Garland is in the crease battling, and he immediately puts his arms up and like points to the ref. He's like, that's in. And then about 15 seconds later, the horn goes off, which is this is the best sound, right? When you're like, did it go in? You're like the production's trying to find the replay, and then you shoot the and it's like, oh, we're good. We got a goal. So it's 5-2, which is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And then Beauvillier takes a penalty, a tripping penalty with about 8.5 minutes left. Pretty good penalty kill. And then the Canucks get taken off the penalty kill because Jay Woodcroft decides to start yapping at the referee. He just, literally refs skating by because the puck got cleared down. Woodcroft is in his ear yelling. Ref immediately puts his arm up and just points at him. And Woodcroft just turns around and walks right out the gate, just right down the tunnel. Doesn't even hesitate. I respect that. If that is Jay Woodcroft's last game behind the Oilers bench, that is the most baller way to go out. And I respect it from Jay Woodcroft, who has had an awful start to the year. So the Canucks get a power play. Pius Suter, another great play on this power play, hit the post in tight. I mean, he's just a great game from him. And then with about 1:20 to go, and I tweeted this out. I don't have the tweet in front of me. I literally said all the Canucks need to do the rest of this game, this is in the second period, is just not get injured by Darnell Nurse because he's going to start taking cheap shots on guys. Fully saw it coming. He goes high on Niels Höglander, just hands to the face on a hit, gets called for a penalty. I mean, we saw this coming, right? Like it's what he does. It's getting old at this point, but it's what he does. And what does Rick Tocchet do? 80 seconds to go in a 5-2 hockey game. After, remember those comments from Connor McDavid talking about like putting your top guys out when you're up 8-1? Rick Tocchet says, all right, PP1 over the boards. I love that because the Oilers are in shambles and Tocchet knows like, hey, the Oilers being bad is good for us, right? Obviously it's good for us. So he puts power play 1 out there and they score. Brock Besser, 56 seconds to go. His 6th goal against Edmonton. I love that from Rick Tocchet. Just saying, yeah, no, you want us to play our top guys? We'll put our top guys out there. Yeah, we're going to go score. That's petty, and I love it. Rick Tocchet has grown on me so much. So, I mean, pluses for this game are obvious. Thatcher Demko for 1. I mean, 6-2 is the score. One of those goals shouldn't have counted, in my opinion, with that trip behind the net. And Durant says this tweet, Demko has only given up 1 goal that should have counted his last 3 starts. And it's true. Honestly, so good from Thatcher Demko. He has been outrageous. He ends up giving up 2 goals on 42 shots for let me see if I can get the number here, for a 952 on the night. And if you weren't paying attention, he had a 947 coming into this game. Like he barely did better. Like his save percentage was barely above his average for the season, allowing 2 goals on 42 shots. So he's going to be up to like a 948, I guess, after that game. He has been absolutely exceptional. And they're just keeping him, hey, let him play, because the Canucks don't play till Thursday. So they can just play him again Thursday. He's hot. Play the hot hand. Demko is fantastic. I love how they got under McDavid and Draisaitl's skin. Making their star players take themselves out of the game is awesome. And my biggest plus for this game is an obvious one. And it's more obvious when we pull up, some analytics here. Let's look at all situations in the first period, or actually 5-on-5, I think might have been worse. All situations in the first period. Expected goals, 1.39 for the Oilers, 0.64 for the Canucks. Canucks got dominated in the first, but then the second period they come out and control a 69% share in the second period. Basically, they flipped it. And you look at the expected goals throughout this game. Look how bad it started. Look how low the Canucks were on this chart, and they ended up battling it back. And they were leading in expected goals at 5-on-5 by the end of this game. And in all situations, they were leading in expected goals at the end of this game. 5-on-5, they were low, but yeah. I mean, you look at how low they were, minus 1.3-ish expected goals at this point, and they came back and they dominated the rest of the way. What a bounce back from a team that historically, we haven't seen that bounce back from. Fantastic. I have one minus for this game. It's the awful start. The Canucks were slow out of the gate, but the fact that Edmonton, the second they got hit back, they folded. And that is fantastic for the Canucks. The fact that they just didn't give up. They said, hey, we've been outshot 19-2. We just got to go score. These goalies aren't great. Their defense has been struggling. Evan Bouchard's been struggling really defensively. Darnell Nurse hasn't been good. He's getting paid Cale Makar money. Let's go take it to these guys and bounce back. And they really did. They really did. And to basically, that's 4 straight wins. Like the tenacity from this team to be defying all the odds. You can look at the expected goals all you want because it doesn't look great for the Canucks. It's like 45% share at 5-on-5 coming into this game, but their goaltending's been so good and they've been bouncing back so well, and they're just battling. They're just battling. That's all we can ask for. 4 straight wins against some teams that coming into this season, you look at this stretch, you look at, okay, they've got the Preds, the Sharks, the Stars, and the Oilers. You'd be happy if they won 2 coming into the season. Hey, if they beat the Preds and the Sharks, great. They're probably going to lose to Dallas, second place in the center or top of the Central Division. That was a battle for first in the West almost, or second in the West. And the Oilers, who we thought were going to be really good. And the Oilers have 2 wins in 11 games. What a performance from your Vancouver Canucks. Folks, I got to go jump on a Canucks After Dark. We do it every Monday, 10 p.m. Make sure you come join me over there. Or make sure you're subscribed here. Hit the like button. We're almost at 4K, like 37 subs away from 4K. Let's get there on this one, folks. Thank you very much for joining me. Hit the like button. Leave a comment with your thoughts on the game down below. Have a good night.